Welcome on in. WIP Daily, Joe Giglio with you. Appreciate everyone listening, subscribing, following the podcast here. And, of course, our YouTube page, 94 WIP. Check it out. Subscribe there. Our video podcasts, myself, and, of course, everyone else at WIP, including a lot of great content from the WIP shows on the air, including today, the final, Marks and Reese, the end of an era, as John Marks says goodbye to the WIP audience. That's coming up at 2 o'clock today. And as far as right now, top of mind with the Eagles is Jalen Hurts and what is going on here with the quarterback that was second in the MVP voting last year, as far as a few weeks ago, was the favorite to win the NFL MVP, but really poor play the last couple of weeks. And it's been a pattern this year where I just don't believe he's been consistent down to down as a top 5 quarterback. And really the numbers bear that out now, where he's not close to that level of a quarterback this season. He's had clutch moments. He's had really clutch moments, and I still like him long-term as a quarterback. But I think you'd be naive right now if you didn't have some question like, what is going on? What's wrong with Jalen Hurts? And as you think about it, I think there's some things that are standing out to me that are the reason or part of the reason for his struggles lately and overall this year. And let's just go through it quickly before we get to why I think he's struggling here. And that is, what is he right now? Like, what is he compared to the rest of the NFL as a quarterback? Because I think context matters. Because last year, I think we felt as a fan base, I think most football fans felt he was a top 5 quarterback. He was second in the MVP. I mean, I think you make a real case last year. He was second best quarterback in pro football behind only Patrick Mahomes. So this season, just some base level stuff. Okay, Jalen Hurts ranks 11th in passing yards. Jalen Hurts this season in yards per attempt right now ranks 12th. Okay, so 2 pretty significant categories. He's 11th, he's 12th. In completion percentage, Jalen Hurts is 13th. Okay, so we're talking about some pretty, significant numbers. In terms of passer rating, Jalen Hurts now is the 18th ranked passer in the NFL in terms of passer rating. He is behind guys like Jordan Love, Derek Carr, Baker Mayfield. Okay, he's behind all those guys. Russell Wilson. He is just ahead of Geno Smith and Gardner Minshew and Justin Fields and Will Levis. I mean, that's the company he's keeping right now in terms of his passer rating. Not what I believe the Eagles signed up for and we thought we were getting. His QBR, which accounts for everything, including his rush ability, sacks taken, all that kind of stuff. Jalen Hurts right now is 10. So depending on the metric you want to use, how you want to frame his play, saying he's been anything better than the 9th or 10th best quarterback, I think is being way over the top. He just hasn't been this season. He's been outplayed by Brock Purdy and Dak Prescott and Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes. We go down the list. Lamar Jackson. I believe Matthew Stafford has a case to be in that mix. Tua Tagovailoa, Jared Goff. I mean, they've all been more consistent, I'd say, for a lot of this season than Jalen Hurts. All right, so what is happening here? What's the problem? A couple things I think stand out, and I've felt this about him since he started as a quarterback. I still think he throws a good ball. I don't think it's about his arm talent. I don't think it's about his accuracy per se. I don't think that's the problem. And you look at some of the numbers tracked by Pro Football Reference. His on-target percentage is just as good, if not better, than last year. His bad throw percentage, just as good, if not better, than last year. So I don't think it is a marked change in how he's throwing the football and his ability to put the ball where he wants to when he throws it. I don't think that has changed significantly from last year to this year. Here's what I think has. 2 things, and these are not excuses. I believe these are reasons. Number 1, his pocket presence is deteriorating. Now, that might go hand in hand with the next thing I'm about to mention, but his pocket presence is getting worse. So what I mean by that is his ability to create his own time within the structure of the pocket and buy time, move. I mean, what Tom Brady did better than anyone I've ever seen is it's getting worse. That has regressed significantly this year. It's not his ability to throw the football from the pocket. It's ability to stand in the pocket and wait for something to happen or see something happening and then throw the football. That play on Monday night where Jalen Hurts, 3rd down, a little above 2 minutes to go in the game, and he bails the pocket very quickly. He's sensing pressure now that I'm not sure is as bad as he thinks it is. And look, I'm not in his head. I'm watching like you are. But it feels like he is sensing pressure and he's bailing the pocket when maybe he just slides his feet a little bit, moves up, moves back, whatever. Within the structure of the pocket, he'd see the open guy come quicker and then he'd throw the football and it'd be a completion and we wouldn't be having this conversation. But he's not. On Monday night, a little over 2 minutes to go, He does it. He bails the pocket, runs right for 10 seconds, runs back left, tries to throw off balance, incomplete, punt, and then Drew Lock takes it 92 yards for a score. That has been happening a lot this year. It's actually a trait of his that has really never gotten to a point you want it to be. He did it too much in his first year as a starter, 2021. He did it last year, but I think a little bit less. He's doing it this year. I think here's a couple differences in why it's not as effective right now. Number one, and this will go with the second thing I'm about to mention, he's not as good of a runner right now. 2021, he bailed the pocket a lot, but boy, he created a lot of first downs with his legs because he would bail that pocket. I think about that play, the Chargers game. I was at the game 2021 here in Philadelphia against the Chargers. He leads a late drive. Eagles end up giving the field goal at the buzzer to the Chargers, so they lose the game. But Jalen led him on a drive to put him ahead, or maybe tied. I forget what the score was. But it was a big drive. At that point, the biggest drive of his career. And it was created with a nice throw to Devontae Smith from the pocket, but also a big run where he ran around the right side, got flipped over, got the first down. He's not doing that as much anymore. So his when he leaves the pocket, I think it's becoming an incompletion, a throwaway, more than it is something positive, even a run. I think it becomes more often than not a throwaway. He has more throwaways this season than he did all last year on a similar amount of dropbacks. I think it's 30 throwaways this season compared to like 23 all of last season. So he's throwing the football just throwing out of bounds. It's a waste of a play more than last year. So he bails the pocket too much, too quickly, not seeing the field well enough because he's bailing the pocket, not giving himself that opportunity. And then you factor in his diminished athletic ability. His running is not as good this year. I know he ran well on Monday, 82 yards. It was I think his best rushing game of the season, that in the Rams game. Or maybe it's general wear and tear. I mean, the guy's had probably over 1,000 carries since he got to college. He's not as dynamic of a runner as he used to be. I think we get a little bit, it gets glossed over, covered up because, hey, the tush push. Hey, he's got a lot of rushing touchdowns. He's going to break Cam Newton's record and all that. He's going to have 1 million rushing touchdowns by the end of his fourth year in the league. He's going to have over 40. That's all great, and it helps the Eagles win. But I mean, moving the chains down to down, he's not as explosive as a runner. So I think this all kind of comes together where he doesn't have great pocket presence. The knee might be part of this. Remember that Cowboy game before the half when he got hit on the knee and we didn't know if he was coming back out. We thought it might be Mariota. I'm wondering if he is very wary of getting hit on his knee because it's bothering him, because he's in pain, because maybe one more hit knocks him out for the season, or he's in big trouble here and needs surgery. So he is trying to avoid that at all costs. And I think my guess is he thinks he could control how his knee is hit when he's outside the pocket more than in. Outside, he could slide. Outside, he could dive. Outside, he could get out of bounds. He could throw the football away, all that. Inside, there's bodies around him. And, you think back to Tom Brady, when he tore his knee back in 2008. 2008. You think back to Hurts when he got hurt with his ankle against the Giants a few years ago. Bodies fall around a quarterback. They can't control what happens. I'm wondering if that's contributing and kind of amplifying why he's bailing the pocket so much. But he's bailing the pocket too much. He's not as effective as a runner. I think those things are the keys here. And then, and this goes hand in hand with everything, he's just not seeing the field the way he needs to be. And I'm wondering if the adjustment to the adjustments, right? The Eagles had a tremendous offensive attack last year with the RPO game. Obviously, because of adjustments to that, maybe the knee issue, Hurts not running as much, and it's not been as effective this year. Teams have not let the Eagles just dominate them using the RPO. And I think it has caused Hurts to force things because he's not either seeing the field or ignoring what he sees. And I'll go back to a play on Monday night where he goes deep to A.J. Brown late third quarter, incomplete. Meanwhile, Devontae Smith is running open in front of him across the field. And this happened to Patrick Mahomes a couple of years ago where teams adjusted. They took away the deep shots. Jason Kelsey was on the morning show today talking about how the Eagles have to kind of take what the defense is giving them and how defense are taking away the deep shots. And it's harder for them to make explosive plays. And I almost feel like we're watching a quarterback press a little bit here because he can't do as easily what he's always done his whole life, which is run and scramble and move the chains. The biggest part of this offense is the shot plays, the explosive plays. They preach it here, and those are getting harder to happen. And I think he's forcing things because he's like, man, we haven't had explosive. We haven't had an explosive. We haven't had an explosive. What are we going to do? I got to get one. We need a big play here. And that's taking away from what could be, a better offense, which is just take what the defense gives you and then methodically wait for it, and the shot play will come, because if you take the underneath stuff, they're going to naturally have to come up and respect that stuff more and not leave those free runners underneath. And I think it will change things. But as I watch this, I sense a frustrated quarterback. I sense one that is not being helped out immensely by his coaches. I sense one that is banged up and it's affecting a lot. And I sense one that has not mastered something that's been an issue since he came in the league, which is pocket presence. I think he's poised as a competitor and a person. I don't think he has great presence within the pocket. So as we move forward here, is Jalen Hurts fixable? Yeah, of course he is. Can he play at the level he played at a few weeks ago when people were saying he was going to win the MVP? Yes. Am I terrified of where this is going? A la Carson Wentz? I'm not. But is my antenna up? It is. My antenna is up because athletically, every year there's an injury, right? So we may be trending towards this is less a part of his game than it was last year moving forward. That is a total reality and a possibility for Jalen Hurts. All right, so if that's the case, and I think of Russell Wilson as a fair comp, where he became less athletic as the years go on, all right, how do you mitigate that? Well, Russell had to become a better thrower within the pocket. I think Jalen's a good thrower in the pocket. He had to complete a lot of shot plays down the field, but things became harder for Russell Wilson, and it was less easy to win as it was early in his career. It's all part of this. My antenna's up that Jalen Hurts is going in the wrong direction. I think anyone with a pair of eyes, or four of them, can see that something's going on here with Jalen Hurts. The Eagles got to nip this in the bud. They got to fix this as quickly as possible. I don't know if that's possible within this season, to really kind of reprogram this, but they got it into the offseason. I expect and believe he could take to coaching and will do a better job moving forward. I believe that. But the reality is he's got it. And I think we could hone in and focus a little bit in on, hey, is it the right coaching? Is it the right scheme? Is he getting hard enough coaching from someone in Brian Johnson that he's known since he was 4 years old? Those are questions that it brings you back to the Wentz thing all those years ago, because one, he didn't take to coaching. And number two, I don't know if they had the right voices in his ear after DiFilippo left and Reich left, and the group that really were hard enough on him left the building. So that's all part of this. But I think when you watch Jalen Hurts, I don't think you see a quarterback that isn't physically good enough. Now, obviously, the knee issue is part of it. I don't think you see a quarterback that can't make throws. I believe he can make every throw. We've seen the throws, and I think he makes them quite well. What I think you're seeing right now is someone that's losing confidence, that is not being helped out with easy throws by the scheme, and who's someone's, Nick Bosa said it a few weeks ago. And, we can laugh off when people are critical of our guys here, but sometimes the truth is the truth. And Nick Bosa said something that it feels very real, that the blueprint is out on how to play the Eagles. The Niners, and Seth Turner said this yesterday on the morning show, may have broken the Eagles' spirit. They also may have told everyone, this is how you stop the scheme. This is it. And you go back and look at the Niners matchup in the NFC title game last year, the way Hurts played, they ran the ball and dominated, and Purdy got hurt. And then this year, and Nick Bosa may be correct. And now it's time for the coaches, and I don't have much confidence they will, and Hurts to see what teams are doing to them and to adjust back. That's going to be the future of Jalen Hurts. Not can he make the throws, not is he good enough, not is that they get fooled here. I don't believe any of that stuff. I believe the biggest thing is, number one, how long can he be a runner and an effective one? Because he's been a diminished athlete this year with the knee issue, and maybe it's just a compilation of things over the years, a lot of carries since college. And number two, can he improve his pocket presence to where he's able to see the field and digest the field before he bails the pocket? Because it's not working right now. Teams are taking away the deep shot. The hero ball home run play isn't a strategy, it's a hope. And he's not as dynamic of a runner as he was a couple years ago. So bailing the pocket just leads to sacks and incompletions. Staying in there is the key for this guy in this offense to figure it out. I think if he does, I think he could be reprogrammed to say, all right, I'm going to take the underneath. I'm going to take the Devontae. I'm going to take the Gainwell. I'll make that decision. Decision-making, limiting turnovers, but I think it all kind of comes together with the turnover stuff. That's got to be fixed. I believe it can, but in terms of how he throws the football, that's not my worry. I think he can make every throw, but the pocket stuff, decision-making, seeing the field, that's what's going on with Jalen Hurts more than anything else. I appreciate you listening, subscribing, following WIP Daily. Of course, our YouTube page, 94 WIP. Check it out. Subscribe there. We'll talk soon on WIP Daily.